Okay, so now I'm gonna go over some of my favorite episodes from the first few seasons of the show in a last-ditch effort to get you to watch this thing. Also, trying my best not to spoil too much in case you want to check it out yourself, which I recommend doing. Without further ado, my favorite Doctor Who episodes and whatever I want to talk about. Pretty much every season premiere and finale I like, but I'll mainly talk about the season premieres since finales are so good because of the build up to it. Also, I just want to say I'm gonna limit it to the 2000s era of the show because there would be way too many episodes to talk about, including Matt Smith's run. Episode 1 of Season 1, Rose.
I'm the Doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life!
Rose is a great introduction and start to the revival. You really get a feel for the dynamic of the Doctor and Rose as it's gradually solidified throughout the season. Just a really straightforward Doctor Who episode that gives you a good taste of what the show becomes later. Episode 6 of Season 1, Dalek. Dalek is the introduction to Doctor Who's most iconic villain, and it pulls it off so well. They managed to make a single Dalek so terrifying and threatening, which is important to note because this feeling gets lessened as the series goes on. This was just a unique episode that pulled off the concept really well and gave the Doctor and the world of the show more development. I really like how the episode compares the Doctor to the Dalek.
Kill yourself. The Daleks must survive! The Daleks have failed! Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth! Why don't you just die?
You would make a good Dalek.
I really love what they pull off with this episode. Episode 9 and 10 of Season 1, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. The two-parter episodes of Doctor Who are usually the better and more fleshed out stories, and this is definitely one of the best. The quote-unquote monster of these episodes is so memorable and frightening that it's referenced even during Tennant's tenure.
Are you my mummy? If you could concentrate.
This is also the introduction of Captain Jack Harkness as a companion. He's so fun and entertaining and only gets more interesting. Anyway, the whole two-parter rocks and has a really nice moment for the Doctor and co. right before the season winds down. Season 2 special, Christmas Invasion. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but Doctor Who has Christmas specials in between each season, and they sometimes fill in the blanks between the finale and the first episode of the next season. This is the first episode with David Tennant as the Doctor.
Did you miss me?
And is the first post-regeneration episode in the revival. Even though the Doctor's in and out of commission for the whole episode, it's really entertaining, and the fact that he isn't there to protect them raises the stakes for the episode. I like this episode, but it's also kind of a weird one.
I don't know!
But it's a solid introduction episode nonetheless. Episode 4 of Season 2, The Girl in the Fireplace. I think everybody loves this episode. It's one of the highest rated episodes outside of finales and specials, and for good reason. This episode is really intriguing and stands out in this season as the Doctor falls in love with a woman from another time. The writing is grounded and the humor is well done, and the story itself adds another layer of tragedy to Tennant's Doctor, foreshadowing a similar event in the finale. Motherfucker gets absolutely wasted and then rides a horse on a spaceship. 10 out of 10 episode. Could not be better. Episode 1 of Season 3, Smith and Jones. The start of another season with Tennant and a brand new companion. The way the Doctor and Martha play off each other feels natural and just works so well with Martha's intelligence, which bodes so well with the rest of the season.
Alright, you staying?
Till you talk to me properly, yes.
This episode also introduces, honestly, my favorite aliens of the series, the Judoon, which are basically rhino space cops that talk like,
Postcode photo, no crow blow.
it's very funny. I just find them really funny and memorable. I don't know, man. They're rhinos. They're rhino guys. Besides that, Smith and Jones starts Season 3 off strong with a solid story and great character moments. And there's this one cool bit that I also do not want to spoil. Episodes 8 and 9 of Season 3, Human Nature and the Family of Blood. This episode was originally a Doctor Who fanfiction story that was eventually adapted into an actual episode by the same writer. The Doctor turns himself into a human with Martha to look over him while they hide out at a private school in almost World War I England. The Doctor, now John Smith, only retains memories of his true identity as simply dreams. The way they depict John Smith as a completely different person despite looking the same as the Doctor is extremely well done given the fact that he's a strict asshole and a coward, but still has some heart. Martha's struggle to stick by his side is executed so well as she is the one who has to deal with the titular family of blood since the Doctor is indisposed, and the brutal ending really shows what this Doctor is all about. Great two-parter. Episode 10 of Season 3, Blink. I love Blink. Everybody loves Blink. It is so good. This is the highest rated episode of the entire revival. The Weeping Angels are terrifying, and the fact that we don't follow the Doctor and Martha makes us genuinely worried for these characters. The use of the DVDs and having to rely on older technology adds to such a great creepy factor throughout the entire episode.
I am very, very sorry. It's up to you now.
And the use of time too is really intriguing and unique to these new monsters introduced in this episode, especially for a first-time viewer. Great standalone episode, one of the best, would highly recommend it. Episode 1 of Season 4, Partners in Crime. I'm sorry, but every first episode of each new season is really solid. Not my fault, so sue me. The best part of this episode has to be Catherine Tate returning as Donna, introduced in the Christmas special, The Runaway Bride, and making her the companion for the season.
I just want a mate.
You just want to mate.
I just want a mate.
You're not mating with me, sunshine.
The Doctor and Donna have such great comedic chemistry, and the way she's reincorporated into the show is so silly but fits the character and the role she serves in Tennant's last season. Also, Wilfred! Love Wilfred, and Donna's family is probably my favorite out of all the companions. Episode 2 of Season 4, The Fires of Pompeii. Originally, I talked for far too long about this very unimportant detail, and to sum it up, Peter Capaldi plays a random Roman in this episode.
Modern art!
Before he ends up playing the 12th Doctor in the later seasons. That's it. Really good first episode with Donna as a companion that explores the morality of time traveling. What can and cannot be changed.
We're in Pompeii. And it's Volcano Day.
Also a bit of foreshadowing for one of the best specials coming up. Episode 8 and 9 of Season 4. Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. This has gotta be one of the best and most interesting two-parters of the series. Honestly, another terrifying episode that has a lot of twists and turns and a lot of layers that are dealt with by the end of the episode. Really impressive and just downright entertaining. Another one I would definitely recommend.
You just killed someone I like. That is not a safe place to stand. I'm the Doctor, and you're in the biggest library in the universe. Look me up.
Episode 10 of Season 4, Midnight. This episode is so interesting and depressing with how helpless everybody is. It just sort of ends with no answers, just fear. Another episode where the Doctor is separated from his companion, but this time, he is the only one in danger. Donna is just chilling out at a resort, blissfully unaware of how this group of people are encountering an unknown horror that even the Doctor can't fully comprehend.
What do you think it was?
No idea.
The way that everyone is defenseless, confused, and scared really works for this episode. By the end of it, you're just as clueless and traumatized by the experience as the Doctor is. I'm probably exaggerating, but it's that good and it's a standout episode. The Water of Mars special. Another standout episode. This time, it's a special after the season has already concluded and the Doctor's all on his own, sort of aimless. He winds up in the middle of a space station on Mars that is destined for tragedy, and he has to just let things happen despite his urge to help. This is the conundrum and moral quandary of being a Time Lord. I think the episode is really good overall, with an interesting antagonist being the water. Very crazy stuff. But what I love so much is the Doctor's turn from the tragic, lonely Time Lord to the pseudo-god that is
Time Lord victorious.
honestly my favorite part of the end of Tennant's run. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but man, the ending is such a great moment. Could not recommend more. Episode 1 of Season 5, The 11th Hour. This is the episode where I decided to cut my video off at, since it's the first episode with the 11th Doctor, who takes the series into the 2010s, but I feel like I have less vivid memories of the episodes past this point. That being said, another new actor nailing the New Regeneration episode. If anything, I think I prefer this one to Tennant's. Matt Smith really knew what he wanted his Doctor to be, and it's endlessly entertaining and engaging. Very silly episode, like with the fish fingers and custard, and how they beat the villain, but also very impactful, and establishes everything it needs to for the rest of the season with the crack and Amy and all that. And you can't forget the iconic speech he gives towards the end of the episode.
Hello, I'm the Doctor. Basically, run.
Really solidifying him as the Doctor for this new iteration.
Nobody panic.
Coming up next week,